Hi there guys, DCRS here, and today I'll be doing a beginner's guide for Duel Links. That's right, this time it'll be about, well, let's say if you don't have any gems, and you don't want to spend any gems because you're considering on making a deck later on when you buy actual packs. But for this time, from this video, I will be explaining what you can do to get ready before you actually spend your gems. This will take a bit of time to actually to incorporate because this free-to-play method is actually going to take you a long time just to give you give you the hint of how long it will take for you to get stuff before you can even build stuff, if that makes sense. Basically, this is a pre-shop, or in this case, yeah, in this way it's like a pre-shop type of thing. But if you can only spend like gems for a certain amount before you actually start making decks, this is actually the guide for you. If that makes any sense. Sorry if I keep saying that word, or those words in particular, but this is like before you actually start making competitive decks. So, this guide will be explaining about a particular shop that you can actually get before, sorry, not before, when you reach level 7 or stage 7. So, when you reach stage 7, this actually will appear in your shop icon menu, and that is the card trader. This little guy here, or this icon. This card trader is a shop where players can actually get cards by trading specific items, such as gold, which are coins, the rarity jewels, and stones all at once. So you trade gold, jewels, and also elemental stones at once. This will allow you to get certain cards at one point in every 8 hours because the card trader restocks its it restocks once every 8 hours, and depending on what featured cards there are that are in the shop at the moment, those will appear. So let's go to the card trader, shall we? Now these are some of the featured cards that are in the card trader. As you see here in the top, it's called new stock. So new stock is for each rotation there will be these specific stock, or this stock in particular, for this 8 hours. So you can get all these type of cards, one of these cards every 8 hours, and after the 8 hours finishes, it will rotate into a new stock. Then if any of these cards actually appeared again, you can actually get another one of these. So these are the current featured cards that are in the card trade at the moment. So the ultra rares are going to be more pricier than the rest of the other cards, whilst the super rares aren't as expensive, whilst the rares are not as expensive as the super rares, but they will cost you some jewels and stuff, and also the commons, which will rotate every 8 hours, which you can find like these specific cards, which one cost a lot, which I will show you. So for ultra rare, we've got like, you need about 110,000 gold and 4 ultra rare orbs and 70 trap orbs for this one. Trap gems? Sorry, let me just repeat again. You need 4 ultra rare rarity jewels and trap elemental stones. It's really tricky to explain because usually I just call trap orbs, ultra orbs, and stones to keep it more simpler. But yeah, I'll just say that for the rest of the video because it's more easy to explain. So for the super rares, it's not as much as this. For example, this is like 90,000 gold. It's like 45,000. It's like half the amount. Also, the jewels in particular for the super rares, and also the dark ones for the elemental ones are actually a little bit, well, they're kind of the same-ish as the other ones, but the super rares and the gold in general are actually much lower. Actually, no, the ultra rare jewels are actually, they require less amount, but they're hard to get. Whilst the super rares are pretty easy to get, but they require a little bit more, depending. But the rare jewels are actually going to cost you the most because they're actually very easy to get, but in the same time they're not. But the elemental orbs are pretty easy to get, depending. But gold is probably the most easiest to get, which won't cost you too much of your time, but it will take you a while to actually farm them. So this is just an example of what you need to look out for. And also the ones that are normal, the N rares up here, are actually going to cost the least, and you don't need rarity orbs whatsoever because they're normals, they're just commons. And lastly, you can get keys and stuff which you would use at the gate, which is very important because you might need it later on when you're actually farming. So, there are other cards you can actually get to help you farm, but you need to get them in the card shop first. So, if you're planning on like farming later after you've set up what you want to do, uh, your main two sets that you'll be farming for to get for farming is Ultimate Rising and Age of Discovery. This will cost you gems, but at the beginning you will have a lot of gems. So depending on how much you spend, and also how lucky you get, you won't. You probably be able to get these easily since they're normals, but it all depends because they're the most stocked out of everything else. So the cards you want to get in the pack shop, a booster shop, I should say, if you want to start off, you want to get at least one secret pass. You only need one. So secret pass is going to be your most important card out of this entire box because this is how you farm farm decks. So farm decks are very important as they help you get more gems, orbs, coins, etc. etc. So that's all you need for this set. And for the Age of Discovery, the card you want most out of this if you're playing on budget farming, if you don't have Gravekeeper's Vassal, which you can get from I believe Ishizu early on, but you have to unlock her first. So if you're doing stuff without using Gravekeeper's Vassal, you need to get this card, Piranha's Army. Piranha Army is your budget option for farming. If you don't have a what's the card called, the Union Tech and other stuff, so you need to buff up a lot of your monsters before you can actually go for high damage. So Piranha Army is the card you need for this if you're planning on farming early on. And since it's a mini box, it's more easy to get rather than the main box, which main box is a bit more wider compared to your mini box. Mini box is around, I think, 80 packs, whilst the main box is around 200 packs. So you have more chance of getting this, but this is only this is optional rather than your Ultimate Rising main box, which you kind of need. One of these, no matter what you do for farming, you always need this card if you're planning on getting more dual assessment points. So it's going to cost you quite a bit depending on how lucky you get. But if you are getting this later in early stages for farming, you'll need this. This is your most important card out of this box. So yeah. As for the other stuff, if you want to build like your first competitive deck, this will actually not cost you any gems whatsoever. But if you are planning on getting like staple cards and stuff like Super Rush Headlong and Powerful Rebirth and all that, or Anti-Magic Errors depending on how you get it for PvP and stuff, this deck in particular is your best friend. That early on you will probably the best deck early on in your stages, but it won't cost you too much, as I like to call it, because this is probably the best beginner deck going forward if you're playing competitively. So the deck I'm referring to is, well, you need this card in particular, which I will explain. You will need to make this deck, Aromages. Aromages is probably your best deck going into the early stages of Duel Links playing competitively, because Arromages will get you up to probably gold, in my opinion, for PvP. Gold is actually one of the top stages before you reach Platinum and Legend and King games. But with Arromages can actually do quite well in Platinum and also fairly okay in Legend depending on your matchups. So you might be able to get to King games with Arromages, but it all depends on how lucky you get. So there's a chance of you actually topping with Arromages, but this deck is probably the one I recommend if you're actually starting out in Duel Links. Preferably don't get stuff that you might want to spend a lot of your gems on. Get this deck first, because this deck will help you it'll help you in the long run until you actually make a better deck. So this is probably the budget deck going forward until you actually reach decks that you require a lot of gems with to spend for free to play or pay to play. So yeah, this deck entirely is made up of card trader cards and also all the super rare stuff like enemy control and all that for the main staple type of cards. They're all relatively easy to get, considering you can unlock it early on in the when you start off the game, because you get enemy control, I think, from the bingo mission, and you get the super rare tickets and all those from early on. Also, having anti-magic arrows from your ultra rare ticket when you first start out, if you do actually get it, depending on when you start the game, because right now you can actually get anti-magic arrows pretty easily with the ultra rare ticket, but if it's not available at this time when you're watching, then, well, sorry, you might have to get it a different way. But yeah, Aromages are the best deck for a budget player if you're actually starting out, because this deck will help you um, with standard duels and also with PvP as well if you're playing competitively. So with Aromage Bergamot, you only need about 18,000 gold, 35 rare gems, and also 30 fire orbs, or gems orbs, however you want to call it. I'd rather call them gems, or gems, even though gems are actually the paying amount for when you're buying from the shop, but I like to call them orbs or gems, whatever, rare orbs, rare gems, whatever. It's relatively budget, and you only need like 1 or 2 Bergamot, and for Rosemary, you probably need about 3 of these, which is relatively easy, considering you only need about, let's say, I don't know, let's say about 500 to 1,000 red orbs for each. 500 up, I'd say about maybe around 500, depending. Depends on how lucky you get with the restock and how quickly they respawn. And also you can get the Aromage Garden, which is a normal, because, well, not because, but this card is relatively very easy to get, and it won't cost you much. It only costs you like gold and spell orbs, which are very budget. So if you're planning on making this deck, I recommend it. And also you need Aromage Jasmine. You'll need light orbs and also super rare jewels, and you also need a decent amount of gold as well, because Jasmine's not going to be cheap, considering it's the most expensive one out of the Aromage deck itself. So yeah. But you can also get other interesting cards in here, which is very cheap. If you can't find it in the main stock, you can actually get all your stuff from here as well. So yeah, you can get relatively easy stuff in the stock, or yeah, this stock in particular. So for budget reasons, let's say what's a good card to go in. For normals, there aren't that many good normal cards, in my opinion. I'd suggest not paying for those. Don't get them. They're not useful. Jog Reed is actually quite good if you're planning on picking this up. This is a card I recommend getting a free of if it does restock in the card trader. But it'll cost you like 12,500 coins and 3 rare orbs, which is very cheap, and 5 trap orbs, which is very cheap as well. So you only need to spend like 15, 9, and about 3 times amount, like maybe up to 70,000, depending, which is very cheap. Cyber Science also a good one, but only if you actually get the fusion-based dragon or stuff later on, which you'll need later on. So don't get Cyber Science until you actually get proper cards from the pack store, booster store, whatever. I don't know. You can call it whatever you like. Also, what else there's good? Mirage Dragon's pretty alright if you're making a dragon decks. This card you can actually get this from the card trader, which is a little bit more expensive because it's a rare, but it's relatively worth it later on down the line, or early on, depending on what you want to build first up. Magical Mallet's also a good one, which is also a rare card, but it's also relatively useful early on in the stages. Also, you can use it for farming as well, depending on which type of farming deck you use. Hazy Flame Sphinx is also another card you can get from this, from the card trader, which is relatively useful if you're planning on making Hazy Flames. This is the place where you get it, and also you can get all the other hazy stuff from the main boxes and mini boxes as well. I think they are in the Samurai one and also another one as well. I can't remember what the names are. Thunder Dragon's also good for, even though it's a super rare now that we're going into, super rares are more expensive, but they can help you later on down the line. And Thunder Dragon's good for the consistency factor if you actually need it. this is the place where you get polymerization. This card is very important in the card trader because this allows you to fuse your Thunder Dragon, also use other stuff later on down the line if you are planning on making a farm deck or a fun deck for fusion monsters. So yeah, keep that in mind if you want to pick up some polymerization. Also, Mystical Beast Cerberus is another card which you can get from this. It is a super rare as well. You only need one of it, or you can get probably maybe 2 to 3 depending. But I suggest only picking up one for the moment. If you have the draw sense level, low level skill, this card is going to be very important if you're actually making a farm deck based on Mythical Beast Cerberus. And there are actually farm decks in Duel Links that are based around this because the AI doesn't. Some AIs don't actually. Oh, AI decks don't actually use high beat stick monsters or anything that uses spell traps to get around your monsters. Some actually just power their own own monsters and stuff. But yeah, Mystical Beast Cerberus is a card you should probably pick up if you have the orbs and money for it, or gems. Sorry, not gems. The coins for it. This is Hammer Shark's good if you want to make a fish or water deck. This card's very neat. Is absolutely needed if you're making a water deck, depending on which variant of water you're making. And this is a place where you can get Legendary Ocean as well. There's another super rare card. As for ultra rares, the cheapest is Red Eyes Black Dragon. So if you're trying to make a budget Red Eyes deck first, you can probably pick this up relatively cheap with the ultra rares, since it only costs you 1 ultra rare orb, 20 darks, and 50,000 gold, which is very cheap. But if you're actually making a Blue Eyes deck, then you probably pick up Kyberman, which is going to be a little bit more expensive since it costs you 100,000 gold. But yeah, it's very relatively important if you're making a Blue Eyes deck with this. You need it, definitely. And this card's kind of optional for making a Dragon deck as well. So yeah, Rarity is good if you're making a farm deck. This is your budget option for Union Attack. If you don't have Union Attack, you can use Rarity just to boost up your monsters to get more attack going. But yeah, Rarity is definitely a budget option if you don't if you don't have Union Attack. If you're playing with the Prawn Army build. So yeah. Anyway, that's all for the card trade that I'm going to talk about. Now, how do you get all these specific Rarity Jewels, Elemental Stones, and coins from if you're starting off from Duel Links? Well, you can actually get them off from the standard duels, which once you win, like a duel, or lose a duel depending, you get less rewards when you lose, but you still get the rewards nonetheless, depending on how well you do. They actually drop coins, Rarity Jewels, and also Elemental Stones, which is relatively easy to get. Really, relatively easy to get if you're actually making your trips to the card trader once in a while. So you can restock, but you have a limit depending on how many times you can actually duel them. Whoops. But once they respawn, you can actually duel them again, get more keys, orbs, whatever, just to help you farm get more stuff in the card trader later on. So yeah. Also, another way to get coins, jewels, and also stones is by dueling legendary duels at the gate, which you unlock fairly early in the game. This thing over here, if you're seeing it, and also you can actually get more of these stuff in actual PvP, which you can duel in PvP, but keep in mind that you might not be able to win in PvP considering you're playing a low tier deck, but if you're playing like Rookie or Bronze early on in duel, like when you start off, then you have no trouble getting rewards easily. But yeah, that's all I have to say for this. I'll just do a test run, a test duel, and also these exclamation icons is another way you can actually get the gems, orbs, and actually no, you can't get orbs, you can't get stones, but you can get keys and also coins, which is another way of getting stuff. So let's have a test run, shall we? I'm just going to use a normal beat stick type of deck, and I'll show you a normal deck to show you the rewards that you get from a standard duelist. And this applies to the legendary duelist at the gate as well, and also in PvP, depending on if you win or not. It all depends on how much rewards you get. So I'm just going to let this auto duel out in the beginning. Oh, right now. To get auto duel, you can actually unlock it, I think, like around stage. I can't remember when you unlock it. I think you unlock it around stage 10 or so. I'll have to look it up. Let's see. How do you get? You get auto duel around. Let's see. When do you get auto duel? You unlock it around, I believe it's stage 6 or so, if I'm reading correctly. Let me just double check real quick. I'm just going to double check real quick before I continue off the duel with this. So you get, I think you get around stage 6 to 10. That's what I think. So yeah, I won this duel, and yeah. Let's see what I get. So I get my character XP, which is good because the more duels you get, the more duels you win, the more XP you get, and the more rewards you get early down the line. This is how you get your gems, orbs, not orbs, sorry, gems, skills, cards, and all those other things later on. You can also get skills from this and gems as well, which is very important. Also cards you can get from here from leveling up as well. But most importantly, this is why you level up your character to level 31. You get 100,000 gold. So once you reach level 31, you'll be able to get 100,000 gold, which is very good because it allows you to get more rewards. It does boost up your gold, but at the same time, it's somewhat alright, somewhat not alright, because coins don't do much, but they are good for the card trader. So don't waste all your coins at once because it'll take you a while to get more coins later down the line. Orbs, on the other hand, is a bit of a task, but once you get more orbs, the more cards you get from the card trader. So yeah, for each, if you win a duel, you get around 2,000. And yeah, I played a prismatic card, well as my econ and stuff. So more reward, more rewards you get from this is due to the dual assessment. So I only scored about 2,300. So for each 1,000 assessment, you get one reward. So I got 2,300. So I only got about 2 items worth. So I got keys and a card from the duelist. Also, events is very, very important as well. So if you're doing PvP in the early stages, oh, not PvP, sorry. If you're playing Duel Links in the beginning, events are actually really, really helpful because they allow you to get more rewards early on, and also you get more gems, more keys, more orbs, more everything. That will help you with your card trader stock so you can get more card trader stock later on. And also, there's a current event going on with double gate keys and gold, so you can get gate keys and gold from the legendary duelist, standard duelist, and the vagabond. They don't apply to these other ones as well, but this is how you get like more coins and stuff later on, early on. But yeah, that's pretty much everything, I think. So you can get rewards and stuff from dueling, standard duelist, legendary duelist, and all those other duelists as well. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. No gems, no problem type of beginner's guide. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this Duel Links guide, and I'll see you guys in my next video, or whenever I do a next beginner's guide next. Wow, that was a bit hard to say. I'll see you guys in the next beginner's guide if you're actually watching this video for beginner's guide, and I'll probably put it in the playlist depending on who wants beginner's guide, depending on who is after certain stuff. So yeah, I hope this helped if you're starting off with Duel Links. So yeah, this is DCRS. Hope you guys enjoyed this discussion and also guide for how to get a good deck in the card trader, and also how to get more coins, jewels, and also stones, elemental stones, later early on in Duel Links. So yeah. Oh, and lastly, before I forget, there's another way to you can actually get orbs, rarity orbs, coins, and also your elemental stones is by going to this place, the card studio, and you can actually go to the card catalog. This is how you can convert cards that you don't want, and you can get more orbs, coins, and also stones, in case you don't want specific cards. So let's say if I were to convert a cell breeding device, I click on it, and then I go convert, and then choose how many you want to convert. Let's say I want to convert all 3 or convert 1, for example. This will tell you to confirm where your conversion. So I want to convert like 1 A cell breeding device. This is what I'll get from my conversion. So you get 200 gold, 1 rare jewel, and also 1 stone of spell. But if I convert, I can choose to select multiple ones to convert. So I click convert, and I can get 3 times the amount. So I can get 600 gold, 3 rare jewels, and also 3 stones of spells. This is another way of actually getting stuff, getting your items that you don't have. But only do this if you don't want to, if you don't want the items in particular. If you don't want to use them, you can convert them. That's what I'm trying to say. But I'm not going to convert them because I actually want to keep all my items because I might need them later on down the line. So yeah, that's all I got to say for this video. So yeah, this is DCRS. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Finally, see you guys next time. Bye.